I think we're good. All right, let's see here. Spoiler free. Yeah, actually. Music rating. I always like the Dragon Quest music. It's just, I don't know. I just like it. It's comfy. It's nice. I always wish there was more tracks, I guess, overall. In Dragon Quest games, and they tend to repeat stuff a lot. I guess? What's up, Rio? I'm gonna go ahead and say that the music in this one was good. I can't really remember too much of the music from 8 or anything like that, honestly. So, I really wouldn't know which is the best. But that's not really what matters. I think I'll go ahead and give the music a 9. I really enjoy it. I like it. It fits the scenario. I'm gonna go ahead and give it an 8. Like, there's just better OSTs out there, but this is really comfortable music. It's really relaxing. It really fits and stuff like that as well. But it's not the most amazing stuff ever. Dragon Quest music is just it's kind of the same in every game, and that's okay. It's very comfort music for me, but again, it's not something that I listen to a lot. It's not like music from other games where I will listen to those OSTs again and again and again. Dragon Quest music to me is perfect when it's within the game itself. So that, and honestly, the ability to share the OSTs, it doesn't mean that there's not great music in the game. It's just it's not anything that's incredibly amazing or anything like that. Graphics for the era. So this is a difficult one. I'm never really good at I'm never very good at graphics in general because I don't play a lot of games and I don't really have stuff to compare it to. I have not played a lot of games on PS4, but what I will say is this game is very beautiful. And what I like that it did that a lot of games don't do anymore is it did not go for just like a real looking aesthetic. It went through like a slightly real, slightly like cartoony type aesthetic, and I really like it. I just like that type of art style, honestly. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and give the graphics a 10. Like they were, I can't think of anything that I would have really changed in the game, honestly. I really liked it. Story rating. Okay, this is the one that I'm gonna be on for a while, I feel, and I think that I'm gonna be on the opposite side of a lot of you. I liked the story better before the post game. I felt like characters actually had progression. They had things that they had to work through. They had to struggle. They changed. They grew. They learned new abilities. They became stronger. They dealt with hardships. Like, you go through all of that with them. And you finally beat this guy at the end. And it's like, wow. Everything we did up to this point, all the hours that I put into this game, grinding, equipment, talking to NPCs, everything I did, I experienced with these group of people. And then you beat Morrigan, and the game's just like, I want to have more stuff. So we're going to give you the super happy ending. And don't get me wrong, I don't dislike happy endings. I kind of prefer happy endings overall. But you can't do something like this. You can't like take something away that's so important to the characters. Hey, Tiny Shoes, just in time for the raffle. You do get me wrong. So I love that. I love that we got Veronica back. I like how they wrapped the entire story up in this perfect little bow and stuff like that at the end. That's something that's important to a lot of people. In fact, that's what a lot of post-game is a lot of the times. It's just this, oh, this bad thing happened, we're going to reset it. But doing it with time travel and making the characters forget absolutely everything that happened, I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of would have wished, like, it was more so, like, they found a way to just save her and do other things and maybe save other people and like do it all at the end after defeating the boss. Like it just all happened rather than it's just like everything that happened for 50 hours of the game, reset, it didn't happen, don't worry about it, act like it never happened. Main character doesn't reference it at all. He doesn't even acknowledge it at all whatsoever. And like the game even kind of makes fun of it, where the guys are like, "Hey man, it kind of feels like we've been here before. This is a little weird, huh? Well, I'm not gonna think about it." Okay, and that's it. And to me, I don't like that. I really don't. I liked a lot more of the character growth before that. And yeah, you can say that the post game's optional, but I kind of disagree with this game. It's definitely optional, and you can beat the game, the credits are there, but that's not really the ending that they're striving to give you. They very, very, very much expect you to go through and get that good ending. It wouldn't have been there otherwise. Even other Dragon Quest games where you do the post game, it does not get wrapped up in that neat of a bow like other games. You don't just revive everyone that died and stuff like that and everything else. And I get it. During the post game, the timelines are merging. Yeah, you do some of the same stuff and things like that. It makes sense because you can repeat the stuff, but still, that's not exactly my problem with it. My problem is that characters to me are the most important things in RPGs. The story that's evolving around the characters, how they deal with things, how they progress and things like that. And this game tossed all of that away and hit the reset button. Like, I can't get away from that fact. I really can't. The post game in and of itself, the story that you get from it and stuff like that, it's good. It is. But again, it just makes that... It makes the second half, or like the second third of the game, almost pointless, because it really doesn't matter what you did there at all, because you can redo it all afterwards. It doesn't matter, and that bothers me. That's not the case, though, Midwest, because when you get there and you help Serenica, they don't know what's going on. They even establish the fact that they don't know what's going on. I mean, Eric even brings it up himself. He says, I almost feel like I've been here before. Oh, well, and then he goes from there. I don't know, Altanen. Serena has a huge moment of development, and it's really the only development her character really gets. Honestly, Veronica had way more of a focus early, and even Veronica, what happened to her and stuff like that, and what she did after that, she just becomes like in the third act of the game, she just becomes like a character that casts magic and stuff like that. It's not as impactful. If every game wants to have a happy ending, if every game just wants to say, okay, I can just say all the bad things never happened and things like that, a lot of stories and stuff like that aren't going to be that good. If you're going to think every time you get to the end of the game, there better be something that's going to give me this happy ending, then to me, that's not as interesting as not always getting one. But I really do feel like the characters suffered a little bit after that. I feel like even with, I mean, I can go through all the characters. Henrik, the way that he goes through and becomes part of the team with the Luminary, dealing with the things that he went through, having to actually fight Jasper and take him out and things like that at that point, and see all the bad things that he's done, to relive his experiences as a childhood and things like that. All of that gone. All of that gone. Instead, he has a realization of like, oh, well, I was helping the bad guy for a while. Luminary, I'm helping you now. And then you got Sylvando. He was away from his family, away from his dad, and was not going back because he had this goal in his mind. And he helped a group of people. And not just that, it was a story that happened within the second act that made him want to go back and actually talk to his father. Seeing the kid with his dad and seeing how much the dad loved him and cared about him and things like that. That's an impactful moment that's completely tossed away because you just go back. And then, and at that point in time, it's just kind of all, like, wasted. I mean, the creator can say that they had full memory at the end of the game. That's fine, but it's not established in the game. It's not. The creator could really say whatever he wants, to be completely honest with you, and that could have been what he was trying to express, but to me, that was not expressed at all. And even if it was, I still feel like it doesn't change anything. If Serena finds out later on, like, oh, so Veronica actually died and things like that, and I had character growth, but now I don't anymore, it's... The thing I liked from the post-game is the stuff with legendary heroes. The fact that the whole Act 2 was invalidated did not sit well with me. See, I agree with you in that regard, Rio. I like the integration of the other Dragon Quest games and the past versions of the heroes and stuff like that. I don't completely dislike the story. I just dislike the fact that this game used it as an easy reset button for everything negative that happened in the game. I mean, everything. Literally everything bad that happened in the game was just reset. There was nothing that stuck. Nothing. I don't know. It's really hard to give a rating for it. Again, I feel like I'm just being like an asshole and saying that, oh, it was a happy ending and I didn't like it. That's not the case. I did not dislike having a happy ending. It's nice. It leaves you with this great feeling after you finish a game, but I still liked the growth of the characters that I felt that got lost, and that really hit me. I really didn't like that. I feel like it could have been handled a different way. I feel like rather than going back in time and just acting like all the characters forgot everything and things like that, and having the main character be completely silent about it, it just felt so forced to me. Like their forced way of wrapping everything in a perfect gift to everybody that was playing it, I guess. And I didn't need that. I just didn't. I might have been content with finishing the game without doing the post game and then finding out about like the actual extra hero story and things like that. The mermaid should have stayed dead, so that's a blatant plot hole. Yeah, well, there's also plot holes too. There was chests that I did not open before this stuff happened, but the chests were still open in areas. The things that the characters said and things like that didn't make really any sense at that point in time with a few of them for you going there and the extra stuff not happening before. Yes, like, and you didn't fix everything, and it's not, like, again, I don't have a problem that everyone got a happy ending. That's not my problem. It's how it was done. It was literally just one flick of a switch and it was all gone. There was really no working for it. You went backwards and just changed everything instead. You didn't have to like make these decisions to do anything. You didn't even really use your knowledge other than really at the start of what was going to happen, because that's the only knowledge you have. Everything gets rewritten after that. But even a lot of the stuff still ended up being the same. You still go to the same area to get the ore for the sword. The hammer's still in the same place. The dragon that you fought earlier is in the same place. All this stuff's just, it's all there. And it's like your prior knowledge is just, it's there. It doesn't mean anything. It's just really, they didn't really use the fact that you went back in time to make any real point other than the fact it's like, whoop, hooray, you saved everybody. But again, this is a solid experience for a game. This Dragon Quest game did something that no other Dragon Quest game has really done other than 8, I feel, where it told a story the entire time. It didn't exactly make you work for it constantly, getting through long dungeons and everything else. If you were going to sit and play the game for a little bit for the day and make a tiny bit of progress, even if it was only 10-15 minutes, you're going to get story. You're going to progress. You didn't have to work as hard for it. And there's something that can be said about the mentality of it being a bit too easy in that regard, but I feel like this is going to be a lot easier of a Dragon Quest game for people to get into, to get into the series as a whole. And for that, it's probably the best story in that regard. But for me, I still think I prefer just how 7 and 8 make me feel overall. I'm very torn between giving it an 8 or 9, honestly. I really feel like I have to give it an 8 because of how I feel about it. But I know that I'm on the wrong side of the coin here with a lot of you guys, because it does sound like I'm just kind of complaining about it being a happy ending, and I'm really not. And I hope I got my points across and things like that. But again, my rating's not what matters. I'm expressing how I felt about it and how willing I am to recommend it to people and stuff like that. I'm gonna give this story an 8. That's just how I personally feel about it. I like the way it ended and stuff like that, but I did lose a lot because of the going back in time and stuff like that. The mechanics. It's Dragon Quest. Not a whole lot's changed. It's pretty much the same. I'm never really a big... Yeah, Jago! Woohoo! Did I upset you too, Eden? Um, the mechanics are kind of always the same in the Dragon Quest games. I would say that these ones were a bit more fluid overall. I've never been a fan of grid systems and learning abilities and stuff like that. I've never been a fan of them. I get lost in them. I don't like learning this stuff. I didn't like the fact that some skills were hidden, then you got to it and you're like, well, that seems like a pointless skill to me. I don't really want that, but I wasted all the points to unlock the skills around it. But at least respecking was easy. But again, that's not how I do things. So that, in that regard, wasn't really to my liking. I did not like how you got pepped up. I thought it was very inconsistent. I would have liked to have a little bit more control over that. But to be fair, being pepped up is super strong. So I guess there's a happy medium there. It was incredibly easy to grind in this game. There was probably better and faster ways to grind even than the way that I did. I didn't like the crafting system in the game either. I felt like it throws so much at you so early that you kind of just like, what do I make one of everything? Do I even buy items from shops anymore because I can just make my own equipment? And honestly, I didn't have to upgrade my equipment really. I upgraded my equipment maybe 3 times in the game and that's it. Time travel stories that plays this way. Think that anime that I will avoid mentioning for spoilers. That anime that I know you watched. There's the whole thing fixing bad timelines in the right way. I know it's hard to compare a show and a game. Yeah, like there's plenty of games that have gone back in time and fixed things in some way or another. Most of the time it's something small that has a large impact. Like if the only thing that we did was go back and save Veronica, that to me would have been a little bit better. Or if we just like did something for her and then somehow did other little things, but the whole flicking everything backwards it just doesn't sit with me. And I know what you're talking about, Rio. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I do agree with you in that regard. The battle system was definitely more fluid than most of the Dragon Quest games. It just felt cool. It looked good. I would say that I really feel like a lot of the abilities in this game were somewhat pointless unless you know what they do. And that's kind of the problem with Dragon Quest games. Things like leg sweep and all that type of stuff are super effective on some bosses and some enemies. But unless you try everything on everything, you don't really learn that stuff. So it's more like a lot of those abilities are really strong on a second playthrough. Or if you're just smarter than I am, which is, it's not difficult to be smarter than I am. But I basically spammed the same abilities over and over and over and over again. And it worked. I got through the entire game doing the same stuff basically. And honestly, the first 2 acts of the game were incredibly easy. And then the third act just like exponentially grows all the numbers and stuff like that. I didn't see the show that you mentioned. I have to scroll back up. But the mechanics weren't bad. I'm going to say that I'm going to give the mechanics an 8 as well. I feel like these are some of the best Dragon Quest mechanics. I'm not a big fan of the sphere grid type thing and the pet powers. And I feel like a lot of this stuff is more effective on the second playthrough overall. But I like the fact that you can init in the battles like that. I did not like the mounts so much. I like the horse. I thought that was cool to be able to travel through areas quicker. But the whole just getting on top of things and making it so that you can traverse for certain areas, it was basically forcing you to fight a battle so you could use a mount for 30 seconds to get up to another area that you were at. It just didn't do anything for me. It didn't make me feel any more immersed or anything like that. Maybe if you could have used them further or kept them the entire time and like just got off of them and go under something and they came after you rather than having to fight a new one to go up through the next area. I just didn't like the structure so much of that. And I feel like the dungeons overall were slightly lacking in this game. There was no like really big epic dungeon, I feel, that where I was constantly watching my resources, other than maybe the last one, kind of. But even then, the game was just a bit too easy for my liking as well. Alright, so grinding rating. I'm gonna say I don't really think you have to grind in this game. I feel like I grinded some metal slimes early, but it wasn't necessary. I didn't have any trouble on any bosses. I only did it because I wanted different abilities. And the last boss there, if you had better equipment and you were around level 60 or 70 or so, you probably would have been able to beat it no problem. And if you were doing this stuff to get the better equipment, you probably would have gained levels, because the one boss I beat gave me a crap ton of experience, which would have been a few levels on my characters. So I think actually getting to like 70 or 80, just doing a little bit of extra stuff, would have been pretty easy. So I can't really answer too much to this, but I'm going to say that this is probably one of the least grindy Dragon Quest games that I've played, that I grinded by choice in this particular one. So I think I'll give that a 7 overall for grinding, because some people are going to have to grind in it, whether it's for money and things like that. Alright, so what's my overall rating? Well, before I give that, let's see what you guys rated it first. Results. That way I can do the math now. Oh, wow. You guys are super consistent. I can already kind of gauge what that is. I mean, that almost straight up has to be a 9. Yeah, you guys gave it an 8.75, which is a 9. Yeah, there's the casino too, but again, I really don't feel like the casino's necessary. Alright, so my overall rating is never just a reflection of the average. Sometimes if I'm having trouble, I will just average it out and things like that, but it's always how willing I am to recommend a game to somebody. And I'm way more willing to recommend this Dragon Quest game than any other Dragon Quest game. I just feel like it's easier to pick up, it looks beautiful, it's out for new systems. There's really no reason a person, if they like JRPGs and stuff like that, should not give this particular Dragon Quest a shot. And if this is what Dragon Quest games are going to be like in the future, I think that it's going to continue to grow and be better and better. It's kind of getting to the point of Persona with me, where it's gaining its own art style, it's got its own music and everything else, and I can look forward to one of those coming out every, 4 or 5 years. I wish it was sooner, but that's probably what it's going to end up being, unfortunately, if not longer. So I'm very, very willing to recommend this game to people. If they can stomach the price point, which is the price of any new game as it is, it's anywhere from 50 to 150 hours of just a relatively relaxing and fun game. And for those of you that really like doing extra content and stuff like that, you're going to get a lot out of this game. A lot. My only major complaint to people is that it's going to be a bit too easy, and I feel like even if people don't mind stuff being easy, they do get to a point of being somewhat upset after a while if they just destroy everything. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9. Not for a while. We'll look up extra side stuff. Alright, what's today? The 1st of November. It literally took us a month to beat this. Yes, the ability to increase difficulty is definitely there, but you almost have to know what the game's going to be like before going in and doing that, I feel. Now that I have prior knowledge of it, I might have tried to increase the difficulty a little bit. And it took us 70 hours, 18 minutes, and 47 seconds. You had the training week where you didn't play, right? I had training for DR, I had people out for a week and stuff like that, so yeah, there was close to 10 days or so where we didn't have a whole lot of streams, or the streams were relatively short. I thought that this was a list for just, yeah. Is this actually, music that's in 11? Alright, well, time for me to start, stop talking. I know you guys are getting sick of my voice already. So, it is raffle time. For those of you that are new to the stream, the way we do things is you type in the word raffle, enters you in a chance to win. If you win, you get to pick the next game that I play. It's as simple as that. Nothing else. Everyone has an equal chance to win. So I'll always say this, I tend to lurk a lot myself, and I know a lot of you lurk as well, but I highly recommend just typing in the word, giving yourself a chance. There's no limit to the amount of times that you win. You can win multiple times in a row, and you can go ahead and start taking a look at the list to see what game you might want to potentially pick. Breathing intensifies. And while you guys are doing that, I guess I'll talk about the story a little bit more. So, I guess one of the reasons that I don't like time travel, I don't like time travel fixing everything in a game, is because if I feel like a bittersweet moment, if I feel like I really lost something, that sticks with me in a game. So if they're going to change that, if they're going to just change that feeling that I had and just try to make me feel happy, it has to feel purposeful. It has to feel like I really earned it, you know? And I feel like actually saving Veronica, actually bringing her back, I don't feel like you earn that. You know, you don't really do anything. You go back and you fight Jasper, but at that point he's very easy. So it's just kind of like you literally flick the switch and she's back. So it made that moment that you experienced just feel kind of, I don't know, lesser. And that moment really hit me. It actually got me close to tears. Like, I definitely had tears welling up in my eyes. Yeah. And they kind of joke around with it a little bit in the sense of, oh, what you seem like you've seen a ghost or something like that they said. All right, guys, I'll give you about another minute. I've been streaming for a while, I've been talking for a while and stuff like that as well, so I know you don't want to hear from me constantly. But yeah, next game is Stella Glow. I got it right here. I will likely start it tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure yet. It really depends on when I get home from work and things like that. And Saturday I'll be hanging out with a friend, but we might be streaming some spooky games, even though it's not October anymore. But for sure, it'll be streamed sometime either Friday or Sunday is when we'll start this. That's awesome, Fatebreaker. Yeah, it seems like quite a few people like it, so I'm excited for it. Alright, guys. Good luck, everybody. 3, 2, 1. Congrats, Doc. I hope you're still here. Rigged. All right, man. Do you have a game ready? Or do you need to look at the list? That's what a lot of people say. Threads of Fate. I actually have that game. First time played, no, never beat it. Alright then, so the next game is going to be Stella Glow, picked by Eden Valkyrie, and then after that, we got Threads of Fate from Doc. It only took us a month to get another Raffle, guys. Not too bad. I do not know how long Stella Glow is. Let's look that up quick. How long to beat Stella Glow? Thank you. It took me a very, 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 very long time to make. Alright, it looks like the average for this is about 50-ish hours. So we'll put like 52. I'll keep track of that if I can. Alright, there's one more thing that we do, guys, when we finish a game for a night. We raid somebody, and we have to think of a message that has to do something with this game. So, can you guys think of any particular message that you really liked in this game that you want to raid somebody with? Puff puff. Oh, we could do puff puff. I guess that kind of makes sense, and people would know exactly where it's coming from. what game it's coming from at least. Let's see who's streaming. Hey, Hope! You're streaming, Hope! You came for the raffle. You're not supposed to do both at the same time. Let's see here. I know you guys are here for JRPGs, so I try to always send you in that direction. You know what? It's a Dragon Quest game, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna raid High Spirits, guys. Raid High Spirits with your best Puff Puff. Do any type of emote you want to do with it as well, but spam the crap out of his stream, alright? Alright, guys, go for it! That's a good one, Eltanin. I'll steal that. Give him a good Puff Puff, guys. Have a good night, everybody. Wish High Spirits some luck on his race. If you like Dragon Quest, he's definitely a person to follow. Streams it a lot. Lots of other JRPGs as well. Have a great night, everybody. More than likely see you tomorrow.